Dunzo. Good. We'll give just a couple extra minutes. All right, if we can get your seats, we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Carl, you. All right, let's get started here because we do have a hard finish because we got 40 teenagers plus coming in here tonight. And you could stay, by the way, and watch a little bit, but just get out of the way, that's all. But stand in the back. But the music is a little loud and a little rowdy for some of you, and so are the kids. So's the pastor. But we're so glad for that. Well, thank you for coming out tonight. Let me just tell you a little bit that where we're headed this evening, and for your participation. If you've not been to a Body Life meeting before, this is again where we talk about the mechanics of the church. I want this to be a two-way street. So please ask your questions. If something is confusing, if you don't understand it, don't sit there and go, well, everybody else understands this, but I don't, so I'm going to ask the question. And let us know, because we want you to be informed. We want you to be informed of what's going on. We want you to be informed of what changes are happening. Once I had a couple come to us and said, this was a few years ago, but you know, you made this change, this change, this change, this change in the church, and we didn't know about it. And I said, no, at every one of those changes, we talked about it at a Body Life meeting. And we explained it, gave you questions, and the man said, I never go to those. I said, well, there you go. So, and then he started coming after that, so which is good. So that was positive at that point in time. But anyways, I just want you to feel free to ask your questions when it's appropriate time, and so that we can work through. If it's a question we can't answer, or if it's a longer answer, we might say, hey, see me afterwards, and we'll talk to you if it's more of a one-on-one specific thing. But tonight what I want to do is three things. We have our financial budget for 2024, and so we want to go through with that and walk you through the whole way that has been put together. And then also the building strategy team has projects that finished this year. I know you know the Big Flip, but I don't know if you're aware of the 2 or 3 other things that they've done and have accomplished as well. And then some of the projects they're looking forward to 2024. And then beyond that. So maybe you have some questions, and maybe you have some ideas. So, or thoughts that you want to add with that. Chuck's going, no. They can have an idea, Chuck. It's like me. I have ideas, and you listen to me and just do your own thing. But then we got any time left over. I want to go through some vision with you and some vision for the church. Where are we headed in the next 5 to 10 years? What are some of the dreams? What are some of the aspirations that we want to accomplish? And so in all three of those stages, we'll stop and ask for questions. So you want to do that? And then if we got a little time at the end, if there's a question on something beyond that, you go ahead and you can ask those questions as too. But tonight I want to start off by just saying that, man, just continue to pray, would you, for this Christmas series. Just what God's doing is just amazing. And I want to just kind of brag on a couple of people, but we brought in Pastor Carl, and I tease him a lot, but we brought him in during the middle of COVID. I don't know if you remember that. We were talking about before COVID, and said, yes, we need to bring him in. We had it going. Everything was moving in the right direction. Matter of fact, I never thought this before. We were going to bring him in, and COVID hit. So anyways, but then we kind of delayed a little bit, and he came. And a lot that he does is behind the scenes, but I think you're seeing it now. I think you're seeing it with just the videos and things like this morning, all that. Pastor Carl is overproduction over last week, this week, and the next 2 weeks. So everything that you've seen, there is a ton of moving parts that you can't see, little things that go on. And he's a kind of a perfectionist, and so some of the things he'll tell you that the 100 things that didn't go right this morning, where I'm saying that was phenomenal. I thought that was incredible at what happened. So I want to just publicly say thank you to him for all that he's doing just to make this thing happen for us, and that makes it easier for people to invite friends and neighbors to come, and that's precisely our purpose. And I kind of said that to you during the season. During this season, we are evangelistically sensitive to evangelistically driven in the way we do things, which means the focus is going to be evangelism. Next week, I'm going to give the gospel again. Now it's going to be primarily on music, but I'm going to get up and boom, give the gospel, and then obviously on Christmas Eve, I'm going to give the gospel again. So this is the time of year that the focus is on that, because it's so comfortable inviting people to Christmas and to what's going on. It's interesting, when I lived in New York, upstate New York there is, Christmas is so secular, it's sad. But in New England, which is the least church part of the country, yet we're highly traditional Christmas, and we will celebrate Christmas. We will celebrate Easter, and so we will celebrate these things. And so we need to take advantage of that, of bringing people in. So this morning, as I shared with you, that whole basketball team, wasn't that amazing? And maybe your first hour, I didn't share it with you, so let me share it again. But at the second hour, the last row, about 6 to 8 young men were back there. And they didn't look like college students. Last week, I don't know if you noticed, we had NHTI students come to church here. And so I saw a whole row back there, and I shook their hands, and they were kind, but you could tell they were a little uncomfortable. You could tell that they weren't comfortable with church, And so they were sitting back there, and when I gave the gospel, 4 of them raised their hands. And so afterwards, they went to the Connect desk and talked to Joanne Randall. And so Joanne said, so, who are you? And they said, we're the basketball team, and we're live streaming this, so I won't tell you. You ask me afterwards, I'll let you know, but I don't want to put this on there. But in our area, a school in our area. And I said, and Joanne goes, well, why did you come? Who invited you? And one young man raised his hand, and he said, I did. And she turned to him and said, I've not seen you before. And he said, I haven't been here before. So how did he know? Why did they there's more questions that I think Joanne should have asked, but she was so shocked. So she got all the cards and she said, could I, it'd be okay if I wrote these kids? I said, yes. So she took pictures of it, of her phone, and so she's going to write them, so pray. I mean, isn't that amazing? Yeah. That's what God is doing, just bringing people in, and we can't be uncomfortable with people coming in, like that, and they're coming in all shapes and sizes and all genders and cross-genders and all kinds of stuff. They're coming in, and I think it's exciting because we're going to give them the truth, hopefully, because I say it for me, I'm giving it compassionately. Giving truth, but giving it with compassion, that we and see what God does, some amazing things that we need to do. So just pray for the next couple of weeks that God would do what God does, that we would be compassionate and kind. And if you could just be aware when you see people and just see what God does, it'll be really exciting. All right, well, let me pray, and then we'll get started. Lord, thank you so much for allowing us to be here tonight. Thank you for these men and women who have come and want to know more the mechanics of the church, those watching us on live stream who couldn't make it. Thank you, God, for that as well. And I just pray tonight that for our church, thank you for what you have done. Thank you, God, for your provision financially, with staff and all that you've been doing. God, even this morning, I think of these young men that came and many other visitors that were here. God, many of them are searching for something and they don't know what it is, and we do. And so, God, may we be very sensitive and aware to them that they're here. May we welcome them, but God, may the Spirit of God take the Word of God and change the life of people. May you change us. So tonight, God, as we share about finances and projects and visions and that, God, may this be a great time for us to be just unified together, bringing glory to your name in Jesus' name. Amen. First up, I want you to know Kevin Schumacher. Kevin came a few years ago, and I, again, want to say how blessed we are. Kevin comes from many of you know, from the business field. He still runs 4 businesses on the side, just for the fun of it, I guess. When you're retired, what do? You run 4 businesses. But he comes with that skill. But I got to tell you, beyond that skill of running successful businesses, this man has a love for people. And I won't embarrass him or others, but I want you to know, I know behind the scenes what this man is like. His integrity, his passion, and some of the things he has done. He's not afraid, literally, to get his hands dirty in the ministry, and has. And so I just thank God for him and what he has done to taking our finances. I think Jason LaFlamme for many years ran it and did a phenomenal job, and then he handed it off to Chuck, and Chuck took it to a different level, and then handed it off to Kevin, and Kevin's taken it to another level. So I just love the fact how we just keep growing with that. And so Kevin has been managing and overseeing all of our finances, so he's going to come up right now and just talk to us about our budget.
Okay, hopefully you guys got a handout. We had them in the back there. If not, that's something that you can get on your way out. Wanted to just give you a chance to kind of see a little bit more so how we work together, put the budget together, and establish that each year. It's an effort where really there's about 50 people that get involved in that whole process. We do start in the early part of October, and then with the goal to really finish up in December, to take that, present that before the elder board, and to get that approved as we go out. When we look to put the budget together, we look at what a lot of our current performance desires are in terms of goals, what's going to really influence the budget going forward, the goals that we have, how we want to grow within the church. And then we also do take some time and look at some of the outside influences as well too, what's going on in the economy, and how that might influence that overall. We also look at how we've performed in prior years as well too. So the prior year performance, if you take a look at that, you can see in 2020, again, that's when Carl came, we had COVID, that was 689, and what the weekly giving was there. 2021, again, with the goals that we had, continuing to move that forward, we increased that budget, and that increase was about 9.5%. And the weekly giving that we were looking for back in 2021 was around $14,651. 2022, we continue to push forward. The budget went up, and you can see the increase there of 10.28%. And then in 2023, really we were kind of looking at not only what we wanted to do internally, but we were also trying to be sensitive to what was going on in the economy as well too, as we started to put that budget together. And if you can remember at that time, as we started to first slip into 2023, there was a lot of concerns with inflation. We didn't know how that was really going to run and what was going on with the economy overall. And then we started seeing wars popping up all over the place. So we took that into account as well too, as we really went to take a look at what that budget would be. So you'll see that number is down a little bit in terms of how we continue to move forward. We kind of took a little bit of a conservative approach there. Also too, when we look at the goals that we had, and what Rick had handed out on the front side, you can kind of see the organizational part of it. On the back side are some of those goals that we have. But we were looking to, in 2023, see an attendance of about 500 people, looking to have a family pastor come. That really turned out, by God's grace, we got Joel, and that has just been a tremendous blessing for us. One of the other goals that we wanted to accomplish was to have the marriage conference. We did that, and that was attended tremendously. And then also try to target and hold a missions budget of about 10% in terms of the overall size of the budget. So those drive, again, what some of those costs are. And I think if you looked in the bulletin, actually, in terms of where we were at church services, I think last week we had 589 people here. So it's really been great to see the growth that we've had there. But that, obviously, from a cost standpoint, as we have more people here, there's a lot more involvement in terms of keeping the building open, keeping things running. Joanne's doing a great job too. But you know, as we think of this, I just want to mention too, Chris Ahern does a tremendous job. As we continue to grow and there's more and more activity within the church, that requires a lot more cleaning throughout the whole church, and she just does a phenomenal job. So every time, if you do see her, tell her thanks. I know for myself, every time I walk through here, I can't believe how clean the entire building is. In 2023, again, some of those external influences were the economy, inflation, and some of the geopolitical things that were going on. The good news is, as we look towards the year-end performance, what we do anticipate with Joel on board and some of the things that we've been able to accomplish this year is that we will see an increase of about $8,000. For me, I think, and all of us, that's a great thing. On the budget that I actually put out last year, I was anticipating that we would see actually a loss going through this year. So to see that reversed and actually have a positive increase at the end of the year, I think shows really well in terms of how we've been able to manage. If you look down below, you'll see a chart there, and that is current year-to-date actual expenses and budgetary expenses. And you can see for a lot of these months, and this is working with a different ministry and different ministry leaders, we've been able to really hold those expenses down through a major portion of the year. I think there's, out of all these months, there's about 7 months where we've actually been below budget, and it's been pretty significant too. We are kind of seeing it pop up here a little bit towards this last quarter. When I had printed this, the reason that December looks so low is that we're still going through that month. But hopefully that will be closer to where we wanted to see ourselves land for budget. But again, looking what I mentioned earlier, the actual versus budget, actual expenses versus our budget, I think will come in with an increase at the end of the year. Another thing that we were able to accomplish this year, which is pretty significant for us, is that what we always want to kind of do is manage the downside, that thing that happens that you never really expected that will come in. So what we were able to put in place is a contingency fund, and we were able to actually do that in 2 areas, which I think is pretty significant. We were able to create a building contingency fund, and then also a fund for how the church operates on a day-to-day basis. And this is really a tremendous benefit for us because we've been able to expand different areas of the building. And the concern you have, or sometimes as you start to think, well, if we keep building, there's a greater chance for things to possibly break over time. At the same time, too, the building has been here for quite a while, the HVAC systems and things like that. So those mechanical things with moving parts will have a tendency to break as well, too, over time. So knowing that we have monies separately set aside for that, when that upset situation comes, we'll be able to take care of that, but also to backstop us from an operational standpoint in terms of the day-to-day, we've also been able to put some monies off to the side to be able to back that up. So we could have a situation where we did, I think it was in first quarter, where COVID kind of hit us. If you remember, we shut the church down for about 3 weeks because all the pastors had COVID. So you just don't know when those different upset situations are going to come, but it's nice to know that we have a backstop here in terms of these contingency funds to be able to take us forward. So really just feel the Lord has really blessed us to be able to put that off to the side as well too, in case we have any issues going forward. If you take a look at the 2024 budget increase that we're looking for overall, is that in 2024 we're looking for an increase of about 7.84% for that to increase. So that'll take our weekly, which now is at 17,173, and that will increase to 18,634 to be able to cover all the different ministries. And again, the idea of how that number gets built up, what we do starting again in that October timeframe, we have the different pastors involved with Connect, Belong, Engage, but a whole bunch of different ministry leaders come together and we ask them, what would you like your budget to be? How would you like that to be shaped to be able to go forward? What's the expectation that you have within your ministry to be able to take that forward? So they spend a lot of time kind of wrestling back and forth the best way to move that forward. And what I have to say, which is kind of nice, is we really started this process more so about 3 years ago of going to the different ministry leaders and asking them, where would you like to see your budget, as opposed to saying, here's a number, run with it, and just don't go over it. So they've been able to really be a major part and play a major part in being able to build this budget on an annual basis for us. And they have done just a tremendous job when we've needed it. If we've had to trim it a little bit to be able to go back and say, guys, can we just hold it back a little bit? They've been able to do that as well too. But I think what's really important is they've been able to advance their ministries. And I think that also plays into why we're seeing so much growth here within the church as well too. As we go forward. What you can see below that is another chart and really how that breaks out overall. So in terms of just general ministries of this overall budget, 14% will go towards that. In terms of missions, that'll be 10%. In terms of operations, that'll be 33%. The pastoral staff will be 35%, and the building and grounds will be 8%. And that's, again, funding all these different ministries of Connect, Belong, Engage in terms of the 14%. If you flip that over, then what you'll end up seeing is the actual breakdown within the different ministries overall, and that's Connect, Belong, Engage. A little tough to see it up top, so hopefully you have it in front of you. There are a lot of subcategories below each one of these, but just to give you an idea, on the Connect team, there's $16,100 for that. Kids Zone is $12,750. We did have a question earlier, was there money set aside for next year's bus? We got next year's bus in here, so we'll be set with that going forward. First Impressions, $8,700. Safety and Security Team, $2,700. That's the Connect side. In the Belong side, you have your student ministries. That's where the bus is, that's correct. I hope so. Maybe we'll need 3 buses. That'll be great. What a wonderful problem that'll be. Senior Saints, Tim and his group, that's continuing to move forward. You see 1,000 there. Belong groups, we're going to hold off a little bit, but I hope sometime in the future maybe we'll get the leaders together for a little training and get an opportunity to spend some time together. Interns, we didn't do anything. We're not planning it for 2024 going forward, but I think that might be something you'll see come up in the future. Men's ministry, total there is $3,400. Women's ministry, $6,200. I think Ellen influenced that number. Only kidding. It's a little higher than the men's though, but anyway. Young adults ministry, $600 there. And then down on the Engage side, general ministry, $66. Things like the picnic come into that, if you're wondering why is that number so much larger, is that we do have a lot of different ministries around there, but the picnic is a big portion there. You see the staff total number, and that is total staff all in. And the number you saw earlier, just the pastors that I broke out for you, that was just the pastoral staff. This is including other staff in that number as well too. You have the parsonage, general missions, plus missionary support, and that would be for our missionary staff that we support in total, and then the buildings and grounds. So this budget is actually what you would call a balanced budget. So our anticipation is what we see coming in, we will use all those monies directly towards the budget. And in that sense, it's a balanced budget. We're not looking to see an increase, and hopefully not going to see a decrease on that. If you go ahead and look at the last page, you know, these are a lot of the different folks that really participate in this entire process of helping us put that together, and that's the deacons in all these different ministries, building strategy team, church complex care, homeschool. I could run through all these, but you can see these different folks that participate in that process from October until that December time frame. So that was it. Just wanted to kind of give you a snapshot of how we go through it, what those numbers look like. You guys have any questions? Yes?
Where does the sports ministry fall?
Yeah, where does the sports ministry fall? The sports ministry, which is Joanne Randall, that ends up going into the Engage side, and that is one of the general ministries that we have. And missions falls into that as well, too, on that side. Yes?
Just a quick question. The bar graph, the black and blue bar
Yeah.
graph, there's several months, I think there's 3 excluding December where we were over budget.
Yep.
There's like 7 months where we're under budget. At the end of the year, does that basically wash out?
The question there is looking back at the bar chart where you have the current year budget expense and the current year actual. Does that level out? So yeah, what we're seeing right now in terms of the overall budget is that we're forecasting towards the end of the year that we'll actually be on the positive side of that in terms of where our overall increase will be. So what could happen, and it's kind of the trend we're seeing, is that with the offerings that are coming in and the actual expenses that we have, we'll end up with an increase. So the expenses overall will probably be a little bit less than what we've budgeted. And actually, I should probably explain that for you in detail a little bit more. When we put the budget together, really what that is that's a plan for the entire year. But what we actually do on a month-to-month basis is we modify that plan through a forecast. And that forecast is, this is what occurred actually in a month, and then we're kind of, again, forecasting what's going to happen towards the end of the year. So the goal and the plan and the reason we do that is that as we're going through first quarter and second quarter, if we can see that at the end, based on the forecast, we're not going to land where we really want to finish, then we'll make adjustments as we go through the year and make changes as necessary so we don't get caught in the end. That's a good question. Yep.
The term increase feels confusing because you think it's an increase in amount of expenses, but in reality, it's an increase in giving over.
Right. So at the end of the year, instead of having 0 expenses versus what we brought in, we'll actually have an increase, and that's what that increase refers to. So we're anticipating an increase, meaning we took in a little bit more than what our actual expenses were, and we think that'll land around 8,000. It's a good question. Anything else? All right, well, I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, you can see me later.
Yeah, the way I'd say it is that we got $8,000 in my wallet that I didn't think I had. There you go, what you have there. But that's, good question is what do we do with that? And that's a fun question. It's a fun answer for the elders to decide whether to put it in a contingency fund, put it in missions fund, special project fund. It's always fun when at the end of the year, you got more money than you thought you'd have, where you can always invest it into different ministries. So that's where we'll decide what goes with that. All right. Thank you again for. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but a deer hit Kevin's truck here this last week. So.
It's a lot of information, Rick.
I know, but you got to know that. It's a big deal. So it's a big deal. He's fine. Kevin's fine, but his car's not. His truck's not fine. So a deer. Must have been a big deer, because he's got a big truck, and that the deer didn't win, but neither did his truck. I think it was a tie. But Ben?
Sounds like you're closing up. I was wondering, do you guys have goals for the 2020?
No, we're not closing up. We got right now. The next thing that we've got coming up right now is I'm going to have Chuck come on up. We've got the building strategy team, and they are Jason Coville had knee surgery, so I believe successful. Maybe you want to just briefly say that. And so he leads that with Chuck and also with Sean, and so he's going to give an update on our building strategy team.
Okay, so I'm going to give you an update of what the building strategy team's been up to this year. Jason, as Rick mentioned, had knee surgery with arthroscopic. They took out a small cyst, and they did some other things to the cartilage and meniscus or whatever. But anyhow, he's doing well. He's at home. He's off of any oxy. He's just taking Tylenol for whenever he feels bad. So he's walking around. He said he periodically puts weight on, so he's doing well. Anyhow, I'm filling in for him. And I just want to go through a few of the things over the past year. Of course, the big flip, which you all knew. And just to give you kind of perspective, we originally estimated that was going to cost about $500,000. But due to a lot of great workers, we ended up doing $436,000. We ended up spending about $436,000 for the whole flip. And you're wondering about where that came from. Most of it came in these acoustic panels that I know Micah Aders had a team, several guys put together and built these panels instead of us having to pay someone. So that saved us about $50K, if you can imagine that. And then these curtains, we went to a different manufacturer, ended up, and installed them ourselves rather than have them do it. That was about $95. And the chairs, got a good deal on these chairs because we had the card pocket put on the back. So think about that. So they come standard with a card pocket. If you have it taken off, it's more. So we said, well, we'll take the card pocket. So if they get bad, Rick said he'd take them all off. So there you go. Cell phone pocket. Oh, a cell phone pocket. I found somebody's cell phone the other day in there. They left. And I got a cell phone. I said, well, okay. So I called them. I said, yeah, I got your cell phone. So anyhow, that was the big thing for this year was the big flip. And just a special thanks for, I think we had over 50 people that were involved, basically doing a lot of the different projects here and there. So just a tremendous blessing to me to see everybody work and come together. So it was great. This past couple of months ago, we had all the parking lot cracks sealed. I don't know, you probably don't recognize that much, but one of the big things with our parking lot is if you don't get the cracks sealed and the water gets underneath and freezes, you start to have big problems. So that's always been a big deal to try and get those filled. We had those filled. And then on the exterior, the softball field, how many of you play softball? Oh yeah, you're going to appreciate this. So John Satterley and Jason and John's crew put in extra topsoil out in the field and leveled it out, and so there's no more tripping hazards and all that kind of thing. And so they'll continue to make those kind of improvements, but they've got it real seeded, and seed grass came up, so it's going to be really great, I think, this spring for all of you. So that was one of the big things that we did. I had an acoustic specialist come in to consult us about these classrooms, the kids' classrooms in Kids Zone, because it's always been an issue with the sound and the reverb and all that kind of thing. So we've had that engineer come in. He's given us a report. He's made some suggestions. So that'll lead me to 2024. So in 2024, one of the things we plan on doing is installing some acoustic treatment in those rooms. So to try and deaden that sound based on what he gave us. The One of the other projects that we have coming up for 2024 is a room 125 and 130, which is a kids zone room down here on the right. There's 2 rooms, and we're going to convert that to 1 room, like 110, which is across the hall. Okay, the class sizes are getting a little bit bigger, especially second hour, and so we're determined to try and make that a larger room and have more access. So that's on the ticket for next year. Plan on having the parking lot sealed and striped. It's never been done, and it's getting to a point where it really needs something, so we're going to do that. Playground. Planning on some upgrades for the playground this year. I know that's been, there's more and more children using the playground. Andy wisely pointed up that there's some issues there as far as safety, so we're going to address those issues. We're going to add probably some playground equipment, and just kind of clean that area up. So that's on our docket for next year. Other than that, we have a long-term, one of the things that we envision as a strategy team was the lobby seems to be a little small. So we're talking about expanding that lobby to the east, if you know what east is, that way. Okay, so we go out the end of the lobby that way a little bit, and also add a carport with a drive-through, so that you could come in, without having to deal with the weather. You can drop somebody off, and they don't have, we have some older people coming in, and now they have to go through the weather. And Danny runs out with an umbrella, and we got all this stuff going on. But we'd like to have a carport eventually. But that is probably, I'm guessing probably $500,000. So we're looking at, we have to plan how we're going to accomplish that. So that's on the drawing board. But next year we're going to actually sit down and try and put some hard numbers to it and figure out what that would take. Okay. So that's part of the plan for next year. Like I said, we just had a lot of key people this year. John and his crew, as far as the grounds. Ryan Odom has been helping quite a bit, and Ralph. Just so many people I hesitate to mention, but there's just a ton of people that have helped out around here, so I really appreciate that. Questions? Rick says I have to ask questions. Questions?
With the softball field, we've talked maybe like seat dugouts or lights, things like that, to improve the softball field. Is there a way you could sit down and kind of go over what numbers would be, so that maybe report to Joanne, so that we could like get like a number put together for like donating to the sports industry, things like that happen?
Okay. Well, a couple things there that I want to address. One is Jason has talked to Joanne. Okay, well, where do I look? I'm talking about the sports ministry. The question was, do we have any plans for the sports ministry as far as expanding the softball field, lighting, dugouts, that type of thing? There was a plan for dugouts. I think Jason talked to Dan and Joanne and decided that currently that wouldn't be the best investment of their money. As far as lights go, they have talked about lighting. However, the way our financial structure works here, we don't really donate to an event or a facility improvement unless it's approved by the elders. Okay, so we don't really have anything that you could do that for as far as a specific donation. But that's not to say that couldn't happen. But the last quote we got, I think, was somewhere around $250,000 for lights. So that's kind of kills your budget a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Jason, who is in charge of the building strategy team, it has been talking with Joanne and about the field, because he plays softball, so he's biased. I'm not biased because I don't play softball. So anyhow, but I know he's talked to Joanne about various things, and that's how the ground got leveled out. Really, they said, well, we need to do something, so they'll do that. So, anybody else?
Scoreboard.
A who?
A scoreboard.
For?
The ball team.
Oh, for the ball team. Oh, it hasn't come up. So we could I mean, if that's something that Joanne really wants, I think she should talk to Jason, yeah.
I'm always asking, what's the score? What's the score?
Well, if you'd pay attention, you'd know. Okay. I love you. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, I would say, Jess, that's a son, you just need to submit that to the building strategy team. I don't know who, to Joanne, I'm sorry, Joanne would submit it to the building strategy team, yeah. Anybody else? Any other questions? Thank you very much. Thanks for your support.
You could tell you don't need to have a customer service ability to work on the building strategy team. But Chuck has been a blessing, and just hours and hours of time that he puts in here, hours and hours that. So he's retired. Same thing, I thank God that John Satterley retired, right, Mary? He's been here more than 40 hours a week sometimes, and from early morning to late night, just working. If you saw the grass, grass has never looked better. Just looks really sharp, and to me, that's a big deal. I remember once a successful man said once that he would never go to a restaurant that looked dirty on the outside because they couldn't if they can't take care of the outside, what's going on in the kitchen. I used to be a cook going through college, so I can tell you what goes on. So I think it's important. This is God's property. And that we make it, we've got 28 or so plus or minus acres of land. And in my opinion is, if 1 square foot is not being used to bring glory to God, then what are we doing with it? So how can we use everything? And Joanne, she's just taken that to a different level. She's just always thinking everything. What can we do? How can we bring more people into this facility? How can we bring them in any way we can? And she's been thinking all kinds of stuff. We've got Frisbee, golf. It's back there in storage that next year I'm sure she'll get out, and so we'll have a Frisbee golf course here on campus. So just a lot of things. When it comes to softball field, that's there's been talk, should we go to 2 softball fields? But then again, if we do that, then we lose there's a give and take thing. So any questions on sports, talk to Joanne. Joanne and Dan are over at that ministry. Ask them your opinion, your thoughts on it, and then they can kind of mold over, and then from there, look at that. And just as an emphasis of what Chuck said, that's, donating to special projects like that, we're very careful with that because, to me, yeah, maybe a scoreboard would be important, but is it more important than building a drive-through? Is it more important than, so prioritizing what we need to do, and that's what we've given the building strategy team, the whole, and if you notice, there's no elder on that team. So we didn't want elders on that team because an elder shouldn't be on that team. Elders should be shepherding, not trying to figure out how to build buildings, and put people like Chuck who are experts at that and let them do what they do. And yeah, they come back to us and we talk about it if we want to put it in finances, but it's been great. It has just been great to see people that know what they're doing, let them do what they're doing so the rest of us can do teamwork and put it together. So a little bit with that to let you know what's happening on. Take this sheet right here that you have, and let me just kind of walk through that with you. Let me just share with you, first of all, the flow chart with you, and I just wanted to get you excited about that to see what how our church is formed. Our church is formed. The leadership of the church. Where does the buck stop? The buck stops with our leadership team, the elders. And so right now we do have 9 elders on our team. So Joel is on the elder board. He's not a voting elder at this point in time. We brought him on and then said he's got a lot to do, and then we'll evaluate that in a year to determine that. But the rest of us are there, and if you don't know this, no decision can be made without unanimous decision of the entire board. So I need you to know that. When I came here, I got to be honest, that was there before I got here. That's in our Constitution. I wasn't really sure about that. I thought, how can you get 9 people to agree on anything, right, in some churches? And yet, I'll tell you what how important that is. That number 1, you get spirit-filled men on the board, but number 2, that every once in a while there is one of us that says, listen, I'm not comfortable with this. Can we sit on this for a couple weeks? And we said yes. Maybe that's the Lord telling us to wait. And so it has been a great thing, but I want you to know that so that not one person can just drive something through on the board. It doesn't work that way. So there's the elders. From there, we've got the church revitalization and planning. That's the I'll talk about that in a second. On the other side, you got the building strategy team with Jason Colville leading that. You got the shepherding groups, and every elder has a shepherding group, which has around 20 to 25 families in their shepherding group that they watch over and take care of, which has been working rather well for us, so that we make sure that everyone is being taken care of. Just so you know, and I want to share this with you, is that we've been also talking about within that whoever your shepherding pastor is, he is also looking for some men to work, and maybe some women to work underneath him as well, to contact some of the people within your shepherding group, just to work as a team together. So if you're interested in something like that, contact your shepherding elder to talk to him about helping him with that, which I think would be good as we grow larger and we look to that. So, and the whole concept of shepherding groups, the way that we're running them, there isn't another church that we're aware of that does it this way. So we're kind of working this trial and error, but it fits our philosophy of ministry, of discipleship. So just as you know. And then I'm responsible to the leadership team, to the elders, and then from there, as lead pastor, we have right now our goal. We feel that we'll be filled if we have 4 associate pastors. Would fit our church for the long term. And right now we've got Carl there as associate pastor. Carl's basically over anything that happens Sunday morning. So if it happens Sunday morning, it's Carl's fault. Okay. But the tech ministry, anything to do with the tech ministry, online ministry right now, First Impressions. Now, Cam and Gina Lilly will be taking that over come in January. So Micah Aders has been doing an incredible job with that. And Micah is doing what we've asked him to do, and that is disciple somebody. He got it going, and now he's going to step aside. And we're looking for the Lilies to take it to the next level. Safety team, Daryl Morales. Media would be my wife. If she doesn't take a picture, it didn't happen. Any major church events like Christmas would be Carl. To be the picnic, Easter, anything like that, Carl would coordinate that. And then our CRM program, which is customer relations management, which would be the app online, which I really would like for you to get that. So our planning center, if you're on that he's overseeing that. Jamie, he's over music ministry, then basically any discipleship ministry. He oversees all that. So you look at there, senior saints, women's, men's, homeschool ministry. And I don't know if you're aware of this. Jesse, there's about 80 to 100 kids here. 80 to 100 kids to the homeschool ministry here. And they're everywhere, like flies. And it's wonderful that they get it. Actually, I think they are the reason why we have a lot of flies in here. We got to keep that door shut. But anyways, it's just wonderful to see that thing grow exponentially. And so Jessica is one of our main key person there to work with that. Widows ministry, brand new. And we are so thankful that Joe and Teresa Moran here in the back is watching over that. And I know Kevin got that, initiated that for us, but that's just an amazing thing that just so you know, we're watching over our widows, which there's a Bible verse about that somewhere. Anyways, we're doing that. And then our young adult ministry, Dana and Debbie Tull, and then recovery ministry, Brad Illiam. So those are the ministries that he's over. Then Joel is over Kids Zone, middle school and high school programs and ministries, and so he is working with that. He has been focused on our student ministries in the fall. Come January 1st, he'll be then taking over Kids Zone, and my wife will be removed from that. So we're going to kick her out of that, but don't feel bad for her. So that'll happen. And then the next pastor we would bring on would be there in the orange, and that would be, but in there right now, you got Kevin Schumacher. Basically, Kevin is our 4th associate pastor, but he's a business manager, and if you look down there, he's overseeing Lynn and also the counseling ministry, the church complex care, which is Chuck and then John Satterley, and then you got home groups. Kevin's looking over that. We got missions ministry, which is Neil Nicholson, the sports ministry, Dan and Joanne, and then our new ministry called Assimilation, which my wife will be taking over. And assimilation basically is how do we take somebody who drives in our driveway for the first time to be a fully functioned member of our church? How do we walk them through that? How do we walk through the different stages? You know, a lot of people say, what do I do? How do I do that? And all the way to where now they are a fully functioned member of our church. And so she's going to take that, run with that, and make that happen. So that's what we look at, and that's kind of like our vision for the future. And if you wondered who's in charge of what, there you go for that. For the vision side, turn your page over. And this is exciting to see. On the left-hand side, I like charts and graphs, so if you don't like charts and graphs, this is overwhelming to you, so just hang in there. But this is something that I just think this is good for you to see. On the left-hand side are the goals. Generally speaking, when I got here, I just put some goals down that I'd like to see. And then from there, basically, the goal, the number goal, and keep in mind, when you look at that number, each number is a person. And that's what gets me excited. And basically, some is 75, some a year, 50 a year. Basically, it's one a week. All I'm looking for is increase the church with just one person a week, net gain. And you look at that as we grow. And then we added children's ministry, student ministry, which I'll talk to in a minute. And then what we actually did that year and what year that was. And then if we added staff and then conference, budget, and budget increase, which Kevin went over with you already. But look down, and you just start seeing what God did in 2015 when I came. Our goal was 200. We had 225, and then we went to 279, 352, 403, 446. We were doing great all the way up to 2019, and then that stupid C word, happened, COVID, and went down. But the incredible thing is this year, 2023, and the funny thing is I'm so focused on our church, but when I talk to other churches, I had a guy come in that works with multiple churches just about a couple months ago. He said, so how are you guys doing in your church? I said, God's blessing. We're up about 9 to 10%. He said, you got to be kidding me. The average church in America still isn't to their pre-COVID numbers. And we're well over that. God is just doing a great thing for us. And you see when we brought people in, we brought Pastor Jamie in, and the next year, that year actually we went up 20%. Thank you, Pastor Jamie, in our budget. Pastor Carl, not so good, but he brought in 14%. So now Pastor Joel came in. We're expecting Pastor Joel this year. We expected the money to come in. Okay, so it's all on him. But if you look at that, but look at a few other things there. You look at some of the things that we did here in 2023. We brought in Next Gen Pastor, which is Joel. We also brought in 2 licensed counselors, which wasn't supposed to happen, but until next year. But God let us happen this year, and so they're using our facility, and God is really using that in a great way. You look down staff, and also programming. And so let me just hit you in 2024. First of all, that big yellow bar. In 2024, in June, I think the last Sunday in June, we have tagged for our 200th anniversary of EBC. So we're going to start. I'll talk to Lynn. If you are interested, I would like to put a committee together to help us collect pictures and history and data, and who should we invite to that, and who we'd like to get here, and to make that a big deal that we can celebrate the 200th anniversary of our church. And so probably in January we'll start with that. So if you're interested in that, I'll have Lynn kind of put that together and make that happen. But then you look at 2024, and you look under staffing there. Let me go down. There's 2 things we'd like to do this next year, and that is develop a leadership development pipeline. What does that mean? That is that we want to put together what I'd love to see is if we ever need another elder, that we have a group of men already in place ready for that. If we need another deacon, we have a group of, that we start, I want to start with our teenage boys and start looking at that, looking at our teens to 20s to 30s to 40s, and what are we doing to put together training and material and discipleship mentorship so that when a leadership position opens in our church, we've got men and women, by the way, because there's leadership positions that women can take also in our church in certain areas that they can fit in and make happen. So right now we don't have that. We kind of, when something opens up, we kind of panic, who's available? Instead of going, okay, we've already have people ready for that position and make that happen. So that's something that we want to put together, that pipeline. We want to put that strategy together. Second one is our simulation team that Ellen will be in charge of, and so that would be this year. Then in 2025, Lord willing, we're going to be looking to bring on the engaged pastor. Now that's contingent on hitting 600 in average in church. Okay, so that's obviously the numbers will drive that because that'll drive the finances of that. But do you see what we put underneath there? Begin plan for church start. One of the things that we'd like to do is this. We've determined that we don't want our church to be larger than 800. That if God wants us to grow, that we don't want to we're not interested in being a mega church, a big church. We're interested in getting about 800. From what I've seen in all my years of ministry, that once you get to 700-800, you got enough people, resources, and also financial resources that now you can start doing a lot more. And so our goal is once we get to about 600 or so, we start planning. So once we reach 800, we actually plant the church. Now, this is not a satellite that's part of, plant a church. Plant a church and say, we'll help you, but you're on your own. And so I just got another chart, I think 55 communities in New Hampshire with 0 gospel witness. 55. Canterbury, Dunbarton, Webster, or Ware, I think it is. So here are 3 that we've got people in our church. You think of Canterbury, we've got about 15 families from around that area, Pennacook, North Loudon, that whole area, that already we could start a church with the people that are there. When you got Dumbarton, we've got a number of people from the Dumbarton area that are coming to church here, and so we could start a church there. So the goal is to a year in advance to get them together to start praying about it. If you look down the list there in 2028, we would actually bring an intern on. That this would be the pastor that will spend a year training. So in 2029, we can say, okay, now go. And the goal would be for us to support the church 100% the first year, 75% the second year, 50%, cut as they grow kind of a thing. And then hopefully in 5 years, you're on your own, and then we'll go plant another church, as God gives us people. So I want you to see the goal. The goal is keep reaching, keep going out, keep moving forward. You see the other things in there that, a part-time custodian extra. I think Chris is going to need some help soon. And there's some other things in her bookkeeper, community outreach team, biblical engagement. There's all kinds of other things, dreams and visions that we have there. As you see, the goals as we grow in numbers. You see that right now for 2023, back up there, our goal is 500. We're averaging for the year 481. But I just did the numbers here for this last. Since November 1st, we've been averaging 532. For the last quarter, 508. So just so you know, we've been just really going up this last quarter. Children's ministry should be about 15% of your overall number. So those what those goals numbers are, they're 15%. And then your student ministry should eventually be 10%. And it's not right now because we're starting slow, but Joe's already been blowing those numbers, and his team been blowing those numbers out of the water. And so that's the goal that we want to get to with those 2 numbers. So if you want to look at that. So those are just some certain things over there. On the other side, the conference side, there's 3 main conferences we do creation, parenting, marriage. We already had 1 cycle. This next year, we're going to do Creation Conference in November again. And so looking forward to that with ICR coming, then a parenting, marriage, the 3 key ones that we'll be moving on from there. So give you a little bit of what that's about and where our vision is, where we're headed towards as a church. All right? Kind of threw that all at you. Questions about that?
Are you staying?
I am. Am I staying? The question is, are you staying? Yes, Lord willing. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know where that question came from yet, unless you don't want me. But I am staying, Lord willing. This is too much to do, and God has blessed our ministry. And Ellen, I love being here. I have no plans of going anywhere, doing anything else, but being aggravating to Chuck. And calling out Ralph's name so that people go, I got to go to church to find out who this Ralph guy is. Other questions?
Quick questions.
Yeah.
On the column there, we had the numbers, the goal numbers of persons.
Mhm.
Is that just people that are coming into the church and you kind of get a head count, or is that also inclusive of members? And is it a good idea to maybe get a better idea of what that number is in relative to membership? Because we talked about the assimilation aspect of things, and in the Love Your Church that women's and men's ministry did, we had this emphasis on the value of membership
Yeah,
to leadership, the overall church.
right. Question is, the goal numbers, is that overall numbers? That's a Sunday morning number, overall number. Really hard to differentiate, have someone, because I don't know anyone could define, okay, they're a member, they're not a member, they're a member, they're not a member. But to your point, I think one thing that we're doing is you can't be in a shepherding group unless you're a member. So attenders, we call them members. There's 3 categories we have them in: members, attenders, and visitors. And so I would say about 40% of the people coming are still attenders. Right now, yeah, about 40% are that we're. But keep in mind too, if I'm looking at numbers, that's why I got my. But we've had probably 100 people start coming this last year. And unfortunately, but I'm sad to say that probably 80 of those have come from a bad church experience, and so they slow roll their, I don't want to join right away, and so I'll wait until, and I usually give people about 6 months, and then I'll say, okay, you need to get involved. Obviously, I believe that church membership, you are already a member of the church. My thing is, you're already a member of the church when you got saved, but you have to identify and engage your membership. You have to commit and submit to the leadership and other members of the church. And so that is a biblical principle. And so we want to help people do that. So I usually preach on that once a year, but then I know that behind the scenes, we've been pushing people to do that. You normally can't serve unless you're a member. Now, we do make exceptions once in a while, and I can explain it to you if you want to know more about that. But normally, you got to be a member to serve, especially if you're going to work in children's ministry, student ministry, because there's a lot more to that as well to be involved with in some of those areas. Okay? Good question. Other questions? No other questions? Well, I hope this has been very informative to you. We just wanted to let you know where we are headed here in this next year. And again, thank you so much. I'm excited, aren't you? What God's doing and the creativity. You just, I got to say this about Pastor Jamie. Just in his music style and stuff, he just keeps me guessing all the time. And I think when you hear about the music coming up this next week, sometimes he does like a TSO or a little drummer boy. I think you're going to be surprised what you're going to get. It's just, music is one of those things that we all have an opinion about, except for me. I just think that, country music is not right for the church. But anyways, but I want to say thank you to Pastor Jamie and just his ability to give us a variety of different styles of music, and so we don't get stuck. We all have our preferences, but we can't get stuck. And one of the things that I love talking to him is just hearing his perspective. He said, Rick, a lot of this new music coming out are written by kids in their 20s who shouldn't be writing music about theology and have that experience. And I mean, that's the man who's leading our music ministry, who has that kind of perspective, who's saying, got to be careful what we're singing, because it is important that we sing songs that are theologically correct and have some depth to that. And so I just want to thank him for just his putting that time into that, making that happen. So that's just a blessing for us. All right, if no other questions, I'm not going to belabor the point. We'll hang around. Kevin, if you can hang around, check a little bit if they have questions, follow-up questions afterwards. We'll hang around a little bit. But if you could kind of move towards that way, because the student ministry is going to kind of be moving in here, and you'll know. Trust me, you'll know. But thank you for coming out. As always, any questions beyond this point, you don't have to wait for a Body Life meeting. Please ask your shepherding elder. If you need to ask one of us a business question, don't ask me a business question. Somebody you ask, so what about this? Because I'll give you the wrong number. Ask Kevin, all right? And I know not to talk about anything building. If I come down and look at something, Chuck will say, go upstairs and prepare a message, And so then you do what you do and let me do what I'm doing. So but ask these guys as well. We appreciate that. Lord, thank you. Thank you for letting us be a church. God, I love that creativity that you created, saying that you wanted us to be together. You wanted us to build together. No man or woman's an island. And we got to work together in such a great way. And what we've seen this last year, God, this big flip we did, God, it was a dream one time. And here it is, a reality. And done with excellence, done with quality. And this morning, as I was just looking at the screen and listening to the music, and Lord, the music wasn't bouncing off of walls, and the HVAC unit wasn't, you couldn't hear it, and all the little nuances so that we could worship you without distraction. Thank you, God. Thank you for the finances. God, I continue to pray that you would continue to allow us to finish this year with what we need so that we can continue to move forward. I pray for the bus fund that would be completed as well. Lord, I pray for our visions for reaching people. God, we look at those numbers, praying next year for 550. God, that's just a number on a piece of paper, but every number there is a person from whom you died. God, again, I think this morning, I think in the last few weeks, the amount of visitors, people that are unsaved, people that are struggling with their marriages, people that are struggling with their gender and their sexuality, people that are struggling, God, with their businesses, and people that are just hurting, and they wander into our church, but they don't wander. You bring them here so that we get a chance to share compassionately the truth of the gospel. And God, I'm asking, Lord, these next couple of weeks, as Christmas is around the corner, that God, you fill every seat, both services, with people that need to hear the truth of your word. And that, Lord, we'll see a number of people come to know Christ as Savior, and many others just let the water of the word wash over them in a rich and wonderful way. Thank you again, Lord, for blessing our church in a wonderful way. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right.
I give all the praise to you. This is my response for making me brand new. Hey, Lord, I can feel your presence, putting all your peace in me. Lord, I can feel revival, breaking all the captives free. And though it sounds crazy, man, I used to hate me till I met somebody who told me how he made me, how he died to save me. And if you want the same thing, all you gotta do is just say, Lord, I lift my hands, I give all the praise to you. Yeah, yeah, everything I am, everything I am, you gave me the strength to do. Yeah, Lord, I lift my hands, Lord, I lift my hands, I give all the praise to you. This is my response for making me brand new. And I can't help it, I'm just being real. I just walk up to the mic and tell y'all how I feel. Y'all think I'm religious, I'm just trying to eat a meal. But I don't live on bread alone, you hear it in my zeal. Down bad, but you got me better. G-O-D, that's the best 3 letters. When you got me moving, I'ma need Rosetta. Keep your head up. And Lord, I lift my hands, I give all the praise to you. Everything I am, you gave me the strength to do. Lord, I lift my hands, a praise to you. This is my response. Oh, this is my response. Oh, this is my response. For making me brand new.
Check, 1, 2, check.
Oh, what a friend I have in you. You tore the veil to let me through. All of my stains have been made new. All just because you wanted to. Open the gates and flood this room. Not even hell can hide from you. I feel the colors start to bloom. Tell me to leave and I'll refuse.
Get back to the business. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I got the light shining, come get it. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I see the people trying to bring them with me. We got a light, tell them come and get it. Yeah. Walk, 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 walk. I walk, 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 walk. We walk. Whoa, I was chasing my glory, then fell asleep. Woke me up and told me to go feed the sheep. Sent me deep in the streets just to bring them peace. Yeah, we be where them blickies be bustin'. Where they end your life with no discussion. But as soon as they see the light rushing, they know that the Lord walking with us, no bluffing. People say that I'm fake, I'm like, okay. Do you walk in the light or you throw shade? 1 more sex on my skin, I got no shame. We was preaching about Jesus before fame. Get it? Did that. On my side, yeah, he been that. Ask the devil where my sins at. On the cross, cause he pinned that. Big throne where he sits at. Death hit him, then he hit back. Resurrected, yeah, that's big facts. Told us hold it down till he get back. Get back to the business. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I got the light shining, come get it. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I see the people trying to bring them with me. We got a light, tell them come and get it. Yeah, walk with me. Step in the scene with the fly, had to keep it so steady, don't fall for the fox. Had to cut out the session, he got in the crop. Hold up, spiritual weapons when miracles happen. I'm never surprised cause it got. Ain't serving no Hannah Montana, ain't switching my banner like David, we slinging a rock. We kicking this beating, why serve you sure? Even if it mean I'm bleeding. Come kill my flesh, my soul still breathing. Speak through me, yeah, yeah. This heart keep beating, these lungs keep singing. Come and step into the kingdom, for the ones mistreated. Till the day we see them, this feel like the moment we seeking. The day we can sing up the water, get freedom to walk. Walk, 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 walk. I walk, 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 walk. We walk, get back to the business. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I got the light shining, come get it. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. Walking with Christ, moving where it's gritty. I feel the spirit moving through the city. I see the people trying to bring them with me. We got a light, tell them come and get it. Yeah. We want.
Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame.
Glory to the Father. You deserve the
say it's holy. Can't get this off my lips. You love me with devotion. You don't kid me when I trip. Yeah, I need a sip from the river. Just wanna get what you giving. Give me unlimited vision and see through the counterfeit. I want the realest. Where he come from, you can't get there with a PJ. It's so full inside this house, I feel like DJ. I can't fight it, let your light come shine on me. Yeah, ain't no hiding, I'm confiding in your peace. Yeah. Carrying buckets of shame. Father, I'm saying your name, but so far from it. Come see the blood in my veins. For me, he bleeding the same. Take this covenant, this is the greatest exchange. At his altar, there's a flame that burns your rubbish. Gave me a cup full of rain. He poured it over every stain until he coming. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. Yeah, I just turned a milli down to be home with my son. Y'all don't get it. I can't gain a thing if I've already won. Still don't get it. I was full back when my bank account was none. Cause my God the type to leave the 99 to get the one. This is life or death. I ain't making music just for fun. Glory to your name, Father. I pray that your kingdom come. And when Satan's on my heels, I pray it's Nike with the run. Make my heart beat more like Hezekiah. Say it and it's done. Breakthrough. Lord Jesus, I need breakthrough. I've been doing things that made the Father have to break you. Living in my shame like the potter didn't shape you. But I know even in the storm, the water didn't wake you. The water didn't wake you. And that cross couldn't break you. Yeah, the darkness couldn't take you. Oh, yeah. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. Glory to the Father. You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame. I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot. Shoot that. Hey, why not? Yeah, coming in hot. Just like the fajita. I write what I live. My life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow. Just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam. I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer. I bring the fire, but you never seen her. I testify, I don't need a subpoena. They want my soul, better go to Korea. I love my dog just like I'm Peter. Gotta protect him. I made the call up with just like I'm reffing. I know we left, yeah, now we back together, but I guess that is better now. Later than never, like, what's happening? I'ma need y'all quit asking when. Me and my wife gonna have some kids. Right now we just practicing. Teacher said quit rapping, man. That gon' hurt my average. I said thank God I ain't average. Yeah, I'm a bright young man. Kill the GPA and the BPM. Look, we on. So say what you say, cause that's A with Lecrae. From the A train to the A, I'm coming in hot. I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot. Coming in. Shoot that. Hey, why not? Hey, I'm coming in.
Wake 'em up, wake 'em up. Wake 'em up, wake 'em up. See him still sleeping, so I had to shake 'em up. I kept it too real. I wasn't faking up. My real life was a headline. Your real life got a deadline. My timeline was a hashtag. Your timeline just a hate crime, coming in hot. Feeling like Pac, back in 94 when he took 5 shots. Too much drive to ride your wave. Ditch my top and I'm off that lot. Black on black on black on black on black on black on black. You don't have to ball a rap to get them racks on racks. Uber poolers trying to catch my vibe and find my way. Yeah, I know I'm ratchet, but I'm really safe. Hot sauce dripping. Everybody wanna start dipping. First nobody wanna listen. Now everybody pay attention. Now everybody pay a fee. Even Trump gotta take a knee. When the horn blow, y'all gon' see. Make the wall fall down like yee. I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot the shot. I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot, coming in hot. Shoot that shot, shoot that shot. Shoot, why not? Hey, why not? Ain't no big, ain't no big. Feel like Pac, feeling like Pac. We can't lose, we can't stop, we can't stop. Yeah, coming in hot. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Shoot that shot. Hey, why not? Hey, why not? Hey, watch out. I'm coming in hot.
Can't stop, won't stop. Where the bricks at? I give him that ditty bop. Like, take that, take that, take that, take that. I'ma put in work. I'ma do that ASAP. Throw my faith in rap. But it say, don't say that, huh? What I'ma turn down for? I feel like Shaq in 9-4. Breaking glass in that black boat. I like Kobe in Toronto, huh? Dropping 81. Yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shake and bake. Sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh? Everybody make mistakes like VJs. Tryna say my name is Minio. Say it with me, Minio. Okay, great. 2 forks high, raise stakes. Risk it all, I take the hate. This the winning team. Get the Gatorade. My guy good, but he's not safe. Nah. They try to shut us down and it ain't gon' slide. Only thing I fear is God and he on my side. That's the confidence I got, cause he got me. That's why I really feel like you can't stop me. That's all you got. Come on with it. That's all you got. You can't stop me. You don't got the power. Shut me down. That's not an option. I'm my biggest problem. You don't got the power. Shut me down. That's not an option. You can't stop me. You're my biggest opponent. You know me, I know you, we know it. Whenever I fail, you always been there to simply remind me I've blown it. You don't see when I'm growing. You don't see where I'm going. You only see in the moment. You know my mistakes. You never let go it. Don't cease to amaze me, and it drive me crazy. Did you catch every detail that I missed in the songs I'm making? Saying you will never write a verse like Kendrick. Never be the rapper I got from Hendrix. Top 10 alive. You will never be mentioned. Why aim so high? Won't survive the trenches. Plus, you a Christian, Andy. They will never listen, Andy. Plus, we a pigment, Andy. You don't got skill. You a gimmick, Andy. Well, if I listen to you and everything you put in my ear, I'll be living like woulda, shoulda, coulda. I'll be paralyzed by fear. Ain't that the truth? If I quit, the only way I lose. I got 2 choices when I do this: make moves or make excuses. If you know who I'm talking about, then you got me. My biggest enemy is me, and even I can't stop me. They try to shut us down and it ain't gon' slide. Only thing I fear is God and he on my side. That's the confidence I got, cause he got me. That's why I really feel like you can't stop me. That's all you got. Come on with it. That's all you got. You can't stop me. You don't got the power. Shut me down. That's not an option. I'm my biggest problem. You don't got the power. Shut me down. That's not an option. You can't stop me. If I cannot stop me, then you'll never stop me. Oh no, can't stop. Oh no, won't stop. I said if I cannot stop me, then you'll never stop me. Oh no, can't stop. Oh no, won't stop. I said if I cannot stop me, then you'll never stop me. Oh no, can't stop. Oh no, won't stop. I said if I cannot stop me, then you'll never stop me. Oh no, you can't stop me. That's all you got. Come on with it. That's all you got.
You wanna know Christopher, you gotta see both sides. Hey, yeah, don't wanna see that at the table. Look at the roll like some cable. I'm tryna point him above, come like a dove. Please set us free from the bondage and come take my dog out the club. Ain't giving in, it's for my brothers and sisters that feel like they locked in the pen. This feel like 30 for 30, you see a little drama, but I know he wins in the end. Where the love go? Where the love go? Like 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 where the love go? I'm like, where did it go? Gossip been going so crazy, you think that we all got a scope. Supposed to be family, this ain't for dust or the Grammys. We throwing judgment like Randy. Lord, please forgive me for hating on people beside me. Yeah, that wasn't right in me. Shout out to Rachel, shout out to Pat, all of the ones that's watching my back. Where the love go? Where the love go? Like 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 where the love go? Where did it go? I'm going harder than ever. You thought I was harder before.
I know they want the flow. I gotta keep it so holy. I'm still tapping in with the bros and they stuck down the road. I know they think that I'm vicious. I gotta just stick to the code. I'm on the road. I gotta kick it and score all my goals. Back on it. I can't cap on it. Yeah, they gave me a chance. I can't pass on it. Took a dive in that lake. No, I'm back on it. Trying to stay safe in the city. All of my dogs, yeah, they with it. Bible on me, cash, you need a message. Trying to stay down, but it's reckless. I could just feel like the jealousy, but I had to go pray and confess it.
Where the love go? Where the love go? Like 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 where the love go?
Lead the signs to the zodiac. Ay, I don't need them, I just go attack. Ay, I make it epic, Homer Iliad. Ay, quit playing with me, I go really bad. All 19, listen, they gon' have to hold me back. Ay, yeah, they gon' have to hold me back. Hold me back. Ay, they gon' have to hold me back. Hold me back, yeah. Really on guard, yeah. Really on guard, yeah. Ask me where my rollie at. Ay, can I ask you where your soul is at? Yeah, cause they get funny with that holy rap. Dang, cause I can do this all day though. My homies call me Thanos, cause that brother only stamp. Living in a new era when they only camp. Southside intellectual and holy black. I like Jesus over Florida tramp. Living water by the bitch, won't you get a catch? Richard God, man, that boy looking like Goldman Sachs. Wait, just run it up, I got an open tab. Hey, and won't you go and get another round? They gon' have to gun me down. I don't thumb it down. I be giving all I got. Really living more than sentimental. Put it in the middle of an instrumental. Every jot and tittle from a brother, pencil riddle with the script.